No. Well, welcome State Councilor Yang to the State Department. Not the first time he's visited us, but always a pleasure to have you and your delegation here. Welcome.
Thank you for your warm reception.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
This is the strongest set of sanctions that have been passed by the UN Security Council on DPRK. The strongest set of sanctions. That's significant. There were times when we in the building last week were talking about, gosh, will China and will Russia vote for this? They in fact did. So we are pleased, and I think that reflects the attitude, the shared attitude of the world.
But the president today said that the sanctions were not a big deal and nothing compared to what needs to be done. That seems like the complete opposite of what you just said.
I think what the president is talking about is that more can be done. We are. We're not at the ceiling when it comes to sanctions against the DPRK. We're sort of at the floor at this point. There's a lot more that we can do. The floor.
Really?
Yeah, not the ceiling, the floor. Okay, maybe a step above the floor.
I don't know. It seems like you're pretty close to the ceiling.
Okay. Well, okay. Ceiling,
not that
floor,
much more
wall, whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. We're not at the ceiling, and I think that's what the president was saying.
So, yes.
Are the sanctions a big deal, or are they not a big deal?
Look,
because I think heard two really.
I think the sanctions, and I'm not going to go against the president, but I think the sanctions are significant. I think the president's more looking at that there's more that can be done, and recognizing that the world has a lot more work that could be done. I think we have all said this, whether it's coming out of the White House, whether it's coming out of Treasury or here, China can do more. We know that they can do more. We know that 90% of the trade goes through China. So we expect them to do more. They just backed the UN Security Council resolution yesterday. They backed the one the month before. That's significant. China has repeatedly said that they do not believe in a nuclearized Korean peninsula. They're working with us. We are working with them to try to get to that goal. Can China do more? Yes, of course. All nations can do more. The Secretary has a meeting with the State Councilor later this afternoon. I don't want to preview that meeting. I don't want to get ahead of those meetings that the Secretary will have. But when I have more for you, I'll certainly bring it to you.
And in the sanctions that the Security Council cleared yesterday, is the administration satisfied with the outcome? There was the U.S. and its allies had pushed a stronger version, China and Russia. Russia is now saying that it got everything it wanted out of this.
Yeah.
So is the U.S. satisfied?
Look, I think we're in a really good spot. We've had 2 unanimous votes on UN Security Council resolutions within a period of about a month. That shows that the world is acting together, and worried and tremendously concerned about the destabilizing activities of North Korea. I can't be any stronger on that than that. I mean, we are happy with that. We are pleased with that. Some people want to pick it apart and say, wow, you didn't get enough. You know, this is significant. These are tremendously significant.
You've also mentioned from here, though, that sanctions take a long time to have a real effect. These sanctions are clearly significant based on what everyone who spoke yesterday said. But does the world have time to wait for them to, if they're going to change North Korea's behavior?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a 3-pronged approach. We have Treasury Department, we have the Department of Defense, and we also have the State Department. So
Shortly before the vote, the ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, tweeted that this vote that was coming up when she sent the tweet was a result of North Korea's hydrogen bomb test. Has the administration made it a definitive determination that this was in fact a hydrogen bomb, or was she getting a too far?
I think, and let me look for her exact quote here because I have it somewhere. I think what she was doing is referring to, she said it was, she referred to the September 3rd test as a claimed hydrogen bomb.
Not in the tweet, she didn't.
Okay, well, in her remarks yesterday at the Security Council, she said that. So North Korea claims it was a hydrogen bomb, and I believe that that's what she was referencing.
Okay, so this is a case of Twitter perhaps not being the best.
Yeah, look, it's obviously very serious what happened.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on DPRK? Hi. I'm sorry,
so
tell me your name again.
Julian Borgia from The Guardian.
Oh, right.
On the marine interdiction part of the sanctions,
yes.
Will that be backed up by any resources to carry that out? Because it does imply much more naval patrolling, more attempted interdictions?
Well,
of,
a lot of that would be a DoD issue. There's a
yeah.
little bit I can try to give you on that, and then I would just refer you to DoD for all the specifics on how exactly that gets done. The resolution provides UN member states with new tools to stop high-seas smuggling of prohibited products. If a flag state or a vessel does not cooperate with inspections, then the vessel can be designated for asset freeze, denied port access, it could be deregistered, and it could suffer other penalties. That's all we have here at the State Department. Okay? Anything else on DPRK? Okay. Okay. Hi, Jane.
Okay, thank you. If North Korea does not dismantle its nuclear weapons, then South Korea wants tactical nuclear relocation into Korean Peninsula for nuclear balance in Korean Peninsula. What is the U.S. position on this?
Yeah, I've certainly seen those reports about that. I'm not going to comment or get ahead of any discussions that could be happening or may not be happening. I'm not aware of any conversations that are being had with the State Department on that matter.
But does the U.S. considering about this issue?
I think that would be a DoD issue, and I'm not prepared to talk about that.
That's not a DOD issue. This is a U.S.
Yeah,
issue.
I don't have anything for you on that.
Okay, one more time. Joseph Noon, special representative for the North Korea Palace, he visited Russia and meeting with the six-party delegations up there. Do you know any purpose of?
Yeah, I have just a little bit of information. I can confirm that our Ambassador Yoon, and many of you know Ambassador Yoon, he is in Moscow today, and that is where he's meeting with some Russian officials. Among the topics that he's talking about, and this is, when you all ask me, is the world on the same page? Goodness, here's an area of mutual cooperation with Russia. And that is that Ambassador Yoon traveled to Moscow to meet with the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs officials to talk about cooperation on the DPRK. It's an example of our ongoing discussions with the international community to increase pressure on the DPRK. So we're pleased that he's there and that those conversations are ongoing.
Because last week, the President Moon of South Korea, he visited Russia and he had a meeting with Putin. Putin doesn't want to help for these sanctions, UN sanctions regarding, pressure North Koreans.
I would say this, Russia voted for the sanctions yesterday at the UN Security Council. They voted for the last round of sanctions. And I think those actions speak very loudly, and we look forward to Russia adhering to its commitments.
But this is not strong enough, sanctions.
Look,
Federally.
We are taking steps. I think the world is happy and the world is pleased with what took place yesterday. The world is working together, working together to hold Kim Jong-un and his regime to account.
Do you know if Ambassador Yoon made any stops before Moscow?
I'm not aware of any.
Switzerland?
I'm not aware of that. Okay. Anything else on Russia today? Okay.
North Korea. Can you respond to the Washington Post report this morning that Russia is actually not cooperating and has been undermining sanctions by increasing trade smuggling with North Korea?
Yeah, so I saw that report, and here's what I can say to that. Russia supported the UN Security Council resolutions yesterday. They support the overall goal of denuclearizing the Korean Peninsula. That has not changed. They supported the resolutions. They supported the resolutions a little over a month ago, so we anticipate and hope that they will follow through on their agreements.
Do you have any evidence? Does the U.S. government?
I don't have any information beyond that.
That they are increasing trade even?
I'm not aware of that, if that's the case. Okay? Anything else on Russia? Okay. Go right ahead. Yeah.
The Palestinian-Israeli issue very
Okay.
quickly. The president has issued a
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sure.
Abby.
Please, I'll wait. Yeah.
Go ahead, Abby.
No, it's okay. No problem.
Apologize
Go
to
ahead.
Saeed.
Go ahead. Yeah, don't apologize.
It's quite all right. Go right ahead.
I just wanted to follow up on what Connor asked. The Assistant Secretary of Treasury testified today about deceptive practices used by North Korea, specifically looking at that port of Vladivostok, Russia, and the switching of flags. Do you feel like the recent sanctions, specifically allowing for the checking of ships when they're trying to smuggle, will prevent that sort of thing from happening? And is that something specifically that the U.S. is talking to Russia about?
Well,
stopping?
I don't. In talking to Russia about where?
About stopping their practice where they're using Vladivostok, Russia, as a port in order to offload coal.
Yeah. So with the interdiction that we talked about, that would be a goal of that, to be able to prevent things from happening of that nature.